That's our standard now. We're going to celebrate it every single time we do it. We're going to smoke our cigars and we're going to wear our T-shirts and hats, but we expect that every year.
I believe in one Joseph Burrow, and I believe what this team is building.
Burrow drops back to throw. Touchdown! Chase has it in the end zone. Jamar Chase.
This is one of the most scariest teams in the NFL.
There he goes. 45, Joe. 50. And Joe Mixon runs it in. The ball is fumbled and scooped up by the Bengals.
Nice.
DJ Reader at the bottom of the pile.
The big fella.
Karras, Indianapolis dude, is my favorite player in the NFL right now.
I want my hat. I want my hat. You're a big dog.
That fresh, crisp excitement of playoff football is in the air as the Bengals' path to defend their AFC championship starts Sunday in the Jungle. Happy Super Wildcard Weekend and welcome in to this Bengals Weekly Playoff Special. I'm Marissa Contepelli.
And I'm Gary Miller. Over the next hour, we check in with Zach Taylor on the regular season Ravens finale and this first ever postseason meeting with the Birds from Baltimore. Joining us to bring it all to you is Chris Renko with more on what's ahead. Chris.
Yeah, guys, we got so much to get to this week on Bengals Weekly and our playoff special. I get the dirt on the wide receivers from the coach that knows them best. Richard Skinner drops to give key players for a playoff run. And Gary will sit down with Zach Taylor to get the details on beating the Ravens. Let's get it all started and send it over to Marissa.
That's right, Chris. Let's get things rolling as what we get set for hopefully will be another lengthy postseason run. The Bengals, well, they still have a sour taste in their mouth from last year's Super Bowl loss. Not as if they needed any extra motivation, but there's been added fuel to the fire as this team has one thing on their mind: unfinished business.
We came out the gate 0-2, had some tough losses.
Sometimes we feel like we don't get the recognition we supposed to get.
People still think we're a fluke, honestly. Like I said, a lot of people were counting us out to lose a lot of those games.
To be real, it's not even about proving nobody wrong. It's just about proving us right.
Well, that's where you get in trouble, is if you look beyond what's right in front of you. That we've got everything that we need.
I knew it was capable all along.
The Cincinnati Bengals are not only AFC North champions, but the NFL can keep the change as the Bengals will open the playoffs in the Jungle.
It's a confident feeling, knowing we've been in this situation before, just last year. Guys are excited about another opportunity to get back to the Super Bowl.
We know what to do and how to do it.
Now we did that, the work up until this point is now we're punching the ticket now because it starts back 0-0.
Every single week for us has been a playoff game. We've had to win in order to put ourselves in the best position. It doesn't mean that we got to change anything that we've been doing.
And that's just the mindset we have. It's one brick at a time.
Our expectations go win the Super Bowl.
Unfinished business.
When everybody play us, they find out the hard way.
We run this. I'll stand on tank.
Definitely unfinished business on the table. Like I said, we know who we are.
Now we went 8-0.
Try to build momentum.
We're the defending AFC champion. We're the defending AFC North champion.
Okay, now we're in the stride. We're in the momentum.
We have another opportunity to go back and win the Super Bowl, so we're ready to go do it.
We know what it takes. We know how to get there.
We hit our stride at the right time.
It'll all be worth it in the end.
And teams have to come see us.
Last year we were just playing for the fun of it, but now we know what it takes.
In these big moments, we're going to show up.
This road is very tough.
Win or go home. We've been in this position before. Now it's time to finish.
That's the first step to get back to where we want to go.
To get to that point.
And come Sunday, it's going to be a dogfight.
Congratulations for winning the AFC North, back-to-back, first time in Cincinnati Bengals history.
And they know that if we can take care of business, starting with our first playoff game, that we've got everything that we need in this locker room to achieve some great things.
It's a hunger to this team that words can't really describe the feeling.
We know with the guys we have, we can go out there and beat anybody in this league. And, we've proven that. So we're excited about having another opportunity to get back, and guys know what we have to do, so we're ready for it.
You've got great players that prepare as well as anybody I've ever been around. And so when you get that combination of collection of talent, football character, and work ethic, you know that anything's possible.
And the sky's the limit. I don't think we have no limitations to this group, so that's how we're going into it.
Like I said, we know who we are. We're a confident group, and we ooze it. We show it in the way we shoot, in the way we walk in the locker room, the way we dress, the way we play on the field, the way we celebrate together. It's just, us as a team, and knowing our one goal is at reach, we're excited about it.
Zach, we talk all the time about celebrations. It's all about hats and T-shirts and cigars. Did you get a cigar after the clinching?
No, I didn't, but I was happy we won, and it was good to see the coaches and the players celebrating. It's well earned. This is what you start the season striving for, is to win the division, so you get at least one home field playoff game. And so I was happy that our guys ended it on an 8-game winning streak, tied for the most wins in franchise history at 12, and first time back-to-back division champs. So there's a lot to be proud of there.
Yeah, when you come to an organization for the first time, how aware are you of the history and the stuff that you guys and your group, this group, is making?
Yeah, I knew it was a very proud history. You don't know the specifics of all of it, obviously, having never lived in Cincinnati or in the area outside of a couple months, but knew that it was a proud history. I'm glad to be a part of it. There are some things that come to your attention as you're getting closer to breaking records or tying records, then it comes to you're not always just researching all that stuff, but still proud of our guys.
What was the reaction of Mike Brown and the Brown family?
Mike's I think proud of the team, of representing the organization the right way, and that he knows how hard it is to win in this league, and so to win the division, especially in this division, is tough. And I know that we're all proud of everybody, of our ownership, of our personnel department, our players, our coaches, our city. It's a really cool moment.
You're not a guy who says much about, in terms of criticism, whether it's of the league or another team or even especially your own players, but you were pretty upset about how they had handled this situation with the vote and kind of how it affected especially the Bengals, and how Katie went to bat for the team, and they didn't seem to listen to that. How much of a motivation was that for you guys this week?
Our players will take any edge that they can get. Usually they're focused enough, as they've shown throughout the season, that they're always ready to go win a football game. But we'll take any edge we can get, and our players have a little edge to them.
How important was it to have that last game at home as division champs and then finish it with no doubts?
That was the best way to finish. Even though they had given us the division championship before the game started, you want to be able to celebrate in a locker room. It doesn't matter if it's home or away. We'd prefer home, to do it in front of our fans. But to get the shirts and the hats and really enjoy that moment is appropriate, and I'm glad that we got to finish it that way.
Next up on our Bengals weekly playoff special joyride, right onto the field with your defending AFC champs as Mic'd Up takes you into the celebration of the regular season wrap-up, Say by Say.
Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Paycor, proud to be the official HR software provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Alta Fiber, proud to be the official internet provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. Trey Hendrickson and Joseph Osai were better together in the Bengals' win over the Ravens. With 36 seconds to go in the half and the Ravens pinned up against their own goal line, Hendrickson dialed up the pressure on Anthony Brown to record his third multi-sack game of the season while wreaking a little extra havoc in the process.
3rd down and 9 from the 6. Empty backfield. Brown's going to throw from the end zone. Hit and brought down. The ball comes out. Recovered for a touchdown. Trey Hendrickson stripped it away from Anthony Brown, and it's recovered in the end zone for a Cincinnati touchdown.
The strip sack was one of 4 Bengals forced turnovers on the day, as the fumble recovery is the second in the last 3 games for Osai. Trey Hendrickson and Joseph Osai are better together. Brought to you by Fifth Third Bank.
The Bengals were already named AFC North Division champions before they ever stepped onto the field last week against Baltimore. but they wanted to wait to bring out the cigars and celebrations until after they defeated the Ravens in Week 18.
Gotta protect the house. Plays gonna be made. Keep them cameras rolling. Plays gonna be on there. I'm telling you. The boy ready to go. We ready to go. We locked in. Let's get it.
AFC North ball. We need our hat and t-shirt.
37 degrees today here in Cincinnati. The Ravens and the Bengals. If the Bengals win, there will be no coin toss to determine which of these teams would host a potential playoff rematch next week. 3-0 Cincinnati, the Ravens' second drive. Brown looking, throws before getting hit, intercepted by Jesse Bates. He has it at the 50, looking to run it back. Now he is grabbed.
Right into the waiting arms of Jesse Bates. That gives him 4 interceptions on the season.
I like this. You like this? I was blocking my I like this go down. I held on to the ball.
He need to work on his yards after catch. He ain't got no yet. No yet.
First and goal, Mixon. Touchdown. Bates with the pick, Mixon with the touchdown. They were imitating the coin flip.
Tell them we run this. They talking about this horse. They talking about, man.
The Bengals score again. 10-0 Cincinnati. First play of the second quarter is 3rd down and 5 for Baltimore. This pass intercepted off a ricochet by Mike Hilton, and the Bengals will take over.
Hey, man.
Joe catches the shotgun snap. He throws it deep down the left sideline.
Oh,
a leaping catch in the end zone. Jamar Chase hauls it in, and the Bengals have scored again. An interception by Mike Hilton turned into a Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase touchdown pass.
17-7 is the score. Anthony Brown. Look out! Hendrickson. Ball's loose. It is. Touchdown, Cincinnati. It's the 3rd turnover by Baltimore.
Turnovers. I mean, it has been a dominant defensive performance.
So it's 27-16. They try to tear it away. That is a fumble. They did tear it away, and Cincinnati has gotten the ball.
That's a local bread, too. That's a local bread. Like that third one, that be. It's that Flex Friday y'all be doing. That local bread. I like it, man. I like it.
The Cincinnati Bengals are not only AFC North champions, but the NFL can keep the change. The Bengals will be at home next week as the number 3 seed in the AFC.
I need my hat and t-shirt. Back to back, baby.
The work that's gone in to get to the position you guys are in right now, people don't understand how much work it took. Keep it up. We got a long ways to go. We got many more weeks to play. We're starting with this one.
That's who we are. We're a resilient team. We know what the guys we have in this locker room. We lock in and do our jobs. We can beat anybody in the league, and we want to prove that.
Different players are mic'd up for every game, but every week it's Mr. Bengal on the mic for the radio call. During the season, we have Coach Taylor on the telestrator on Bengals Nation. For the postseason, Lapp breaks down that epic KC comeback that got them into the Super Bowl.
As the old saying goes, offense wins games, defense wins championships. Lou Anarumo's defense is playing championship football. 11 takeaways in the last 5 football games, 4 against the Baltimore Ravens, 2 fourth down stops, 6 possessions ended without a kick, punt, extra point, field goal. That's playing serious defense. Let's take a look. Keep your eye on B.J. Hill right here with the pass rush move against this tackle. Brown wants to go to Likely on a little crossing route. B.J. Hill says, nah, baby, nah. Here we go. Watch this arm over. He gets inside position on the tackle. He's going to grip and get arm over, beat him inside. Would have been nice if the back chipped him, but he didn't. He just released for a little check down route. Oh, jackknifed the quarterback, make him throw it inaccurately. Easy interception for Jesse Bates. I like a lot of things about this play. Little tackle and stunt right here. Super loop by Logan Wilson. I like this little action up front. It affects Brown a little bit. Another crosser, he's going to put it right on his receiver. His receiver lets him down, bounces off his hands in trail position. Mike Hilton, thank you very much. Second interception in a very short time span for the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are known for their power game. They want to outnumber you over here by pulling a guard. Fullback kick out, guard is supposed to turn it up inside. Watch Joseph Osai just crush everything. He's going to consume the guard and the fullback. Good job by everybody up front, pushing line of scrimmage. Nice job by Jermaine Pratt, Logan Wilson. This is just a good defensive stand right here. But watch Osai. Push! Take on the fullback, take on the pulling guard. 4th and 1, no go. Watch the 2 edge rushers right here. Hendrickson and Osai. Bengals are going to rush 3, drop 8 into coverage. 36 seconds to go in the half. They decide to throw the football. Hendrickson says, I don't care. Guard's looking. Should I help? I better help over here. Bad choice. Hendrickson, inside move, rip, fumble. Football awareness, Joseph Osai. Another great play, fall on the football. Bengals' first defensive touchdown of the season. This is the lesson, never give up on a play. Cam Taylor-Britt. First of all, as the route is run, there's offensive pass interference. Right here on the comeback route, he pushes them down the football field to get separation for the back shoulder throw. Cam Taylor-Britt says, all right, I'm going to go rip at it. I'm going to recover, and I'm going to help Jesse Bates take the football away. The longest play of the day offensively for the Baltimore Ravens ends in another turnover. As we saw in this football game, the defense stepped up, made big play after big play. 4 takeaways, 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 4th down stops. That is championship defense.
It's always a very physical game when the Bengals and Ravens square off. Imagine the intensity in a one-and-done setting. Up next, in their words, the Bengals D analyzes the Baltimore O. What are the pros and cons of facing the same team within a week?
We'll find out this week. You know, it's I've never done that before. Played the same team back to back like this. Obviously, there's things that both teams hold. You know, knowing that there is things on the line for that last game, but at the same time, we're trying to. The most important thing is the playoff game, and so again, it's 2 teams that know each other really well. It's not like we're playing the Miami Dolphins, a team out of the division that maybe we've already played. We're playing a divisional team that we've played many, many times over the years, and they know us and we know them.
How much does last year's run play into getting ready and knowing, you know, you want to get back to where you were and haven't done it already?
It doesn't hurt. Our guys have been there and done that. They know how hard that road is and that you can't overlook a single opponent that's in front of you. And so that's the biggest thing is we've got a test this Sunday against Baltimore. All of our focus needs to remain on that because if you start to look past that, that's where you can falter and then you're at home the next week.
How gratifying is it to you to know that you know, this group went ahead and you brought in 4/5 of a new offensive line. You brought in a couple of, you know, emphasized in the draft, the defensive backfield, and it's still a very bonded unit that they were able to mix in as well as they have.
It speaks to the coaches, speaks to the players who have been in this building, some of the homegrown guys, Sam Hubbard, Jesse Bates, Jermaine Pratt, guys like that, Tyler Boyd. And then it speaks to the guys we've added over the years, the Von Bells of the world that have helped some of these young guys mature very quickly. And so when you've got a core in your locker room that's like that can help all these guys adjust and understand the expectations quickly, has been really helpful for our success.
How much does a guy like Ted Karras right at the middle of the line, snapping it to Joe Burrow, but like I said, that rebuilt line, how much has he been maybe even above everything you expected out of him?
Yeah, he drives the communication, and his intangibles are off the charts. And so those are 2 things you got to have from your center. A guy who's physical and nasty, a guy who's smart and sees it like a coach does, sees it like a quarterback does, and then brings all those guys together like he does after games during the week. All the intangible stuff that he does is critical for us.
When you play Baltimore, which you have a lot since you've been here, twice a year at least, now 3 times this year, the Justin Tucker factor. How much more does that factor into when you play the Ravens than it might some other team that they get to midfield, they might have a chance to score?
Yeah, their distance increases. When we play Baltimore, we know that there's 2 great kickers on the field. You know, that can potentially change a game. So that certainly factors into how you play.
Well, this is the 10th time since 2000 that 2 teams will meet in the wild card round after facing off in the final week of the regular season. Now, Baltimore was without a number of their star players on offense last week, and it remains to be seen who exactly will be suiting up for them on Sunday. But this Bengals defense knows what the challenge is ahead of them.
They're explosive offense. They love to run the ball, and we know we got to stop the run, do our best.
The quarterback run can be a big part of what they do. These other quarterbacks they have can do a great job. Whether you're practicing that or not, you're still ready for a guy who's a dynamic runner. That's what they've done. Building that quarterback room is they've found a lot of guys that can beat you with their legs and their arm, and so you got to be ready for everything.
Huntley's just as capable. You know, he runs well, he throws it well. They don't switch up what they do. They'll run first team, and they're not going to change it up no matter who's the quarterback.
Like I tell everybody, I think we're like wine. As the season goes on, we get better. And I think we take pride of what we're doing up front in the D-line room, the back end. We're excited about this chance we got ahead.
Obviously, I'm pretty sure both teams didn't show much this past Sunday, so we expect them to attack us different ways come Sunday night. So we just got to adjust on the fly and be ready for whatever.
Some of these combatants have known each other a long time. Hayden Hurst and Kevin Zeitler were first-round picks for the opposition. Joe Burrow and Sam Hubbard were at Ohio State with J.K. Dobbins and Malik Harrison. Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine were together in Zach Taylor's hometown as Sooners with Mark Andrews and Ben Powers in 2016. And Burrow was also at LSU with Jamar Chase and Patrick Queen. No one knows these Bengals better than Dan Hoard, Dave Lapham, and Jeff Hobson. A postseason edition of the Who Day Roundtable just ahead.
Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank, the official bank of the Cincinnati Bengals, and your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires.
Welcome back to this Bengals Weekly Playoff Special. It feels like it was an eternity ago when the Bengals reported to training camp ready to defend their AFC Championship. The road to the playoffs this season has had its ups and downs, but let's wind back the clock and take a look at the Bengals' journey to the postseason.
The Cincinnati Bengals are not only AFC North champions, but the NFL can keep the change. There will be no coin flip required as the Bengals will open the playoffs in the jungle.
Okay, let's get started. I'm excited to get the guys back, get going today on the field.
Bengals training camp. Let's start with the Super Bowl hangover. Will that be the case with the Bengals this season? How do they avoid it?
They put that kind of in the past and they use it as motivation. I just think you're now one of the hunted.
Final seconds of the first quarter. Burrow on time. Tyler Boyd breaks away, and now it's a foot race. Boyd will take it for the touchdown. Knocked up in the air, intercepted. Game over. Cincinnati wins its first game of the young season.
There's a lot of white tonight. It's a white-out Thursday. The Bengals will also be wearing white helmets, white uniforms.
He's going to fire high and deep downfield. Intercepted! Picked off by Von Bell. 3rd and 11 will look to pass. He throws it deep down the sideline, and it is caught. T. Higgins breaks the tackle. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown!
Got him in
Bengals!
I knew when those lights popped on what I was going to see from you guys. You guys are at your best in these big moments. You guys stepped up tonight. That's a good football team. You guys answered the bell. Big time.
Oh my God, I made him fall.
Burrow throwing this side of the field. Jamar Chase with the catch and up the sideline. And there he goes. Jamar Chase to the end zone for the touchdown.
Jamar Chase, a 60-yard touchdown. And the Bengals have the lead with 1:57 to go.
Get out!
Something about this state that just, brings the best out of us. Great fans. It's great to come back and experience the atmosphere of a football game in Louisiana.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tosses it left. Mixon will go into the end zone. Gives it to Mixon. Joe is into the end zone.
Mixon motoring for his 3rd rushing touchdown.
Burrow throws. Joe Mixon. 15-yard run for Joe Mixon, who has just set the Bengals single-game record with 5 touchdowns in a game.
Man, y'all know where we at. Back in the jungle, man. Y'all stay tuned in enjoy the show.
Burrow throws a slant.
Nice.
Higgins with a catch.
Get in.
He breaks a tackle.
Yeah.
He extends the ball. Touchdown.
Nice.
Bengals.
I think give him my f***ing money.
Here's Mahomes hit when he threw it. It's Kelsey. Pratt's trying to hold on to him. Needs some help. Ball came out. Ball came out, and Pratt has it.
When you do too much talking, you got to go out there and prove yourself. And like you said, we didn't do no talking. We just let our pads do the talking and came away with a big win.
Gotta protect the house. Plays gonna be made. Keep them cameras rolling. Plays gonna be on there. I'm telling you. We boy ready to go. We ready to go. We locked in. Let's get it.
And Joe Mixon runs it in from inside the 1.
They were imitating the coin flip, which has been a big story here in Cincinnati.
This pass intercepted off a ricochet. It's picked off by Mike Hilton. The intended receiver allowed it to glance right off his arms into the hands of Mike Hilton. He throws it deep down the left sideline. A leaping catch in the end zone. Jamar Chase hit and brought down. Where was the ball? The ball comes out, recovered for a touchdown.
We've already shown you Lap's look at that last meeting with the Ravens. Now Dave sets the telestrator aside and joins his radio partner Dan Horde and Bengals beat writer Jeff Hobson. We call it Who Day Conversations as the trio chimes in on how the Stripes went to school last postseason.
You don't hear much talk about a Super Bowl hangover anymore. The Bengals not only made it back to the playoffs, they did so with a better record than last year and an 8-game winning streak. Now the goal is to make it back to the Super Bowl and win it this time around. And in this week's Who Day Conversation, we're going to talk about 3 lessons learned from last year's playoff run. Lap, you're up first.
I'm going to go back to my former playing days. The fact that the speed and tempo of the game accelerates. And man, my first postseason game, it was in 1975, my second year in the league, and I'm like, did I close my eyes? How did he get there that fast? And there's no other way to get used to it other than experience it. And the fact that a lot of players in this football team experienced that very thing last year through the playoffs to the Super Bowl. And the other thing is you realize playing when it's one and done is a different deal. You know, if you lay an egg, you don't have a chance for redemption. You lay an egg, that egg's sitting there the whole offseason. You're done.
All right, there's a lesson from Lap. Butch, how about you?
Big players playing big, and we can start with that man right there, Smokey Joe. Okay, historic last year, 2 game-winning drives in his first 3 playoff games. If you thought he was Houdini against Baltimore, remember he was the galloping ghost in Kansas City? He'll need more of that. DJ Reader maybe played the most dominant defensive game in his franchise's history in the postseason against Tennessee. Trey Hendrickson, franchise sack leader, set the record, kept going. 3.5 sacks in the postseason. Jamar Chase, 2 100-yard games in his first 2 playoff games. T. Higgins finished up with 200-yard games in the last 2, including 100 in the Super Bowl. Big plays, the bell rings.
All right, we all remember how close the Bengals' playoff wins were last year, but it wasn't just the Bengals. In the last 2 rounds of the playoffs, in those 6 games, every game was either a 3-point game or an overtime game. In other words, when you get to the playoffs, chances are the games are going to be nail-biters, and the winning team has to make a key stop at the end of the game. Last year, in all 3 playoff wins, the Bengals' last snap on defense was an interception. Jermaine Pratt against Vegas, Logan Wilson against Tennessee, Von Bell against Kansas City. The Lou's crew is going to have to deliver late in games. We'll see if they can follow those lessons and beat the Ravens on Sunday night. That's this week's Who Day Conversation.
Thanks, guys. As we take a break, we get ready to take 5. It's the playoff edition of the Contabelli Countdown. 5 keys coming up.
Welcome back to our Bengals Weekly Playoff Special. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins have quickly established themselves as one of the most dangerous duos to ever wear the stripes. Chad Johnson and T.J. Houshmandzadeh are the only other Bengals teammates to ever post 1,000-yard receiving seasons in the same season. And now Chase and Higgins, well, they're making their stamp on the NFL.
Chase and Higgins became the second pair of teammates in the NFL to post back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons over the last 2 seasons, joining Tampa Bay's Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Chase also joined A.J. Green in becoming the only 2 Bengals to begin their careers with 2 1,000-yard receiving seasons, as Higgins sits right behind Green for second most receiving yards in a player's first 3 seasons in Bengals history. And when you add Tyler Boyd into the mix, Cincinnati was one of only 2 teams to have 3 players post 700 or more receiving yards in 2022. Meanwhile, the defense will look to continue its dominant ways. Cincinnati ended the regular season holding quarterbacks to a 58.9 completion percentage and an average passer rating of 80. Those are both league lows. The cleanup crew only allowed 1 quarterback to net 300 or more passing yards this season. That was Tom Brady in Week 15. Jesse Bates and Von Bell each recorded career highs with 4 interceptions, tying them for second most in the NFL among a safety tandem. Bates allowed a career-low 51 completion percentage to opposing QBs as quarterbacks averaged a passer rating of only 64 when targeting Bell. Logan Wilson put together a career year as he led the team in tackles and recorded a career-best 2.5 sacks, as 2 of those have come in 2 of the last 3 games. Trey Hendrickson's team-leading 8 sacks marked his 3rd consecutive 8+ sack season, making him one of only 6 players in the league to accomplish that feat over the last 3 seasons. And Lou Anarumo's crew will be facing a Ravens offense that scored just 75 points over the final 6 games of the regular season. That is the second fewest in that span among a team that made the playoffs in the Super Bowl era, as Baltimore hasn't scored more than 17 points in a game since Week 12. Mark Andrews is the only Raven with over 500 receiving yards on the season and leads Baltimore with 5 touchdowns, but the tight end hasn't seen the end zone since Week 6. In 4 career playoff games, Andrews hasn't scored a touchdown and has been held to fewer than 50 yards in each contest.
Contepelli's Countdown is presented by Betfred, and don't forget that sports betting is officially live in Ohio. Download the Betfred app today to get in on the action. The Bengals encourage you to gamble responsibly. Now let's hear from the Bengals offense as they prepare to take on a stingy Ravens defense for a 2nd straight week.
Playing a tough division opponent again now 2 weeks in a row presents some interesting challenges, but we need to be at our best. I think at moments we were not at our best on Sunday. Still got the win, happy about that, but want to put it away sooner than that.
Initially they were blitzing a little more than expected in those first 2 quarters. We had some success against it, and then they kind of started doing what they did in the first game. They have a good plan, they always do. I have a lot of respect for the guys on the other side. They always make it really hard on us.
Throws it deep down the left field, left sideline.
Oh,
a leaping catch in the end zone. Jamar Chase hauls it in, and the Bengals have scored again.
They know what we try to do on offense. We know what they try to do on defense. They try to take away our bread and butter stuff, and they're pretty good at it. Got to find some ways to find some explosive plays and stay efficient and keep moving the ball down the field.
When you're going into a game, you can watch all the film you want, but until you feel the strength and speed of someone right in front of you, you don't really know. So that'll be fresh in our minds. We know these guys, they know us. It's going to come down to execution and finish, and we're up for the challenge.
For the first time ever, the Bengals-Ravens rivalry is a trilogy. So cross Baltimore off the Stripes postseason list, leaving just the Patriots, Browns, Jaguars, and Broncos as the only AFC teams they have never faced in the postseason.
Don't forget to check out Bengals Picks presented by Ohio Lottery, now in the Bengals app for your chance to win prizes throughout the season. 18 and over. Terms and conditions may apply.
We've heard from the players, the head coach, and the broadcast team on the matchup. Next up, we get the skinny with Chris and our local 12 Bengals beat reporter.
Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Betfred, the official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Last season, Evan McPherson was a key for the Bengals' playoff run with not one but 3 game-winning kicks. Who will be the key this season? Local12.com's Richard Skinner joins me to break down the potential heroes. All right, Skinny, the key to the Bengals postseason, I know there's going to be a lot, but 4 guys you think are going to make a difference, and your first one's the obvious one, Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah, no question. I mean, listen, he's a big game player for a reason. He's done it at every stage, from high school to college to last year in the NFL to this year in the NFL. It's got to be Joe Burrow. Let him cook. I can imagine him throwing it 40 to 50 times every game because he is the focal point of the offense without question.
Now, the focal point of last year's run was the kicking game, and Evan McPherson, one of your keys again.
Yeah, I know everybody's wringing their hands because of the New England situation. If you've watched games in New England here of late, everybody's missing kicks. I think the good part was Evan made an extra point in the Buffalo game before it got called. He made all of his kicks today. He's money Mac for a reason. It's money time of the season. He is going to win this team at least one postseason game, in my opinion, maybe more.
Now, at the beginning of the year, when we said rookies that they're going to rely on for a deep run, you might have thought Dax Hill. Your next guy, rookie, not Dax Hill.
Yeah, Cam Taylor-Britt, I mean, he's gotten a lot of starts now under his belt, about a half a season's worth. Teams, though, are also starting to pick on him a little bit. And look, it's a rookie thing. He's made some plays, but there's also some things he still isn't right there. He wouldn't be playing if they didn't need him to play. That's no knock because he's a rookie. So he's going to have to shore it up because I guarantee you throughout this playoff run, when you're going to face maybe Buffalo and maybe Kansas City, 2 teams that can throw the ball around, he's got to be great.
And the final one, also the defensive backfield, but he's come up big time and time again this year, Von Bell.
And that's why. He's come in big situations. Von Bell makes big plays. Today, it was in the game on Sunday, it was Jesse Bates stripping the ball, Von Bell picking it up. In other games, have been Von Bell stripping somebody or knocking one away. Von Bell comes up big when they need him to come up big, and that's what he is. That's why he's been in the playoffs with 2 teams multiple times.
You can read him on local12.com/sports. He's Richard Skinner, our Bengals beat writer, joining us this week.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, he called the Bengals' historic wild card win last year, and this Sunday, Mike Tirico will be back in the booth alongside Bengals legend Chris Collinsworth. Tirico now joins Dan Hoard to preview this AFC North playoff battle.
Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth will be in the TV booth on Sunday night. What was your reaction to NBC getting the Bengals and Ravens on Sunday night?
Much like marriage, if your other half is happy, you're happy. So Collinsworth getting a home game makes him happy. Therefore, the entire feel around the game immediately changed. It'll be nice to be back. There was no way in the world when I did this drive 52 weeks ago did I think the Bengals were about to embark on a run to the Super Bowl. I got a chance to call the Raiders game last year. Now they're right there in the conversation with Buffalo and Kansas City. Nobody would be surprised if they repeat and go back.
Did you consider Cincinnati making it that far to be one of the great Super Bowl underdog stories of all time?
Absolutely. To see this team just keep building and gaining confidence. This year has almost been a microcosm of that. You know, haven't lost since Halloween night? It really has a feel like it's been sneaking up on people because Buffalo was the hot team to start. Kansas City had kind of emerged as, okay, well, they can't beat them. Nobody nationally has buzzed enough about Cincinnati until the last 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think maybe it was the second half against Tampa. They can do that on a defense that we think is pretty good. This team might be just as good again. So I think that buzz is now starting to happen.
So it is a somewhat unusual situation to have teams meet in the final game of the regular season and then in the first round of the playoffs. What kind of game do you expect on Sunday night?
Division rivals in a playoff game, that's good. And if you just played last week, that's even better. Great. Now, don't take a stupid penalty. What's that line? That line's always hard to find, but don't give a free 15 to a team that, and either side it's true, 15 yards could mean giving one of those really, really good kickers a field goal opportunity. I feel like they're going to end up in some 4-point 16-12 game in the fourth quarter. Their defense is good, and I think it's gotten better. And they were not too awful last week, and Marcus Peters wasn't there. So if you add him back into the mix with the guys up front, they're going to stay in the game. They always find a way to hang and stay in the game. So with all this little dislike amongst the teams here, between the teams and amongst the players, don't give him a free 15 because you know Tucker can hit a 55-yarder from his sleep pretty much.
The atmosphere is going to be tremendous. We can't wait. Appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Back in the jungle for a playoff game. Hey, if it's going to start an annual tradition, this is a really good one. I get to see you. I get to be in Cincinnati. Collinsworth gets a home game. I get to drive, so life's good. I look forward to being there, and thanks for having me on. You're the best.
When we return, Zach Taylor tells us the one thing they must do to secure a wild card win. Stay with us here on this Bengals Weekly Playoff Special.
The Bengals and Campbell's Chunky teamed up with the Free Store Food Bank to distribute holiday meal kits to over 2,000 local families. Bengals players, staff, and Houday were joined by Campbell's Chunky and Kroger team members, sending families home with all the fixings to enjoy a home-cooked meal during the holidays. Join Dan Horde and Dave Lapham Wednesday nights for the Bengals Game Plan Radio Show Live, presented by Bud Light. Visit Bengals.com/gameplan for a list of locations each week.
Wide receivers have a personality all their own. I mean, think T.O., Chad Johnson, Michael Irvin. It's swagger, it's style, it's speed, and the Bengals have one of the most talented receiver rooms in the NFL. But to get the details on what these guys are really like, I sat down with Troy Walters, their position coach. Receivers have this, I don't want to say reputation, but kind of being the big personalities on the team. Do you find that's true?
It is. That's just the nature of the position. Guys want to be playmakers, and they also want to be known in the locker room. Usually the loudest, the most vocal, most flamboyant. You go on the road to dress, probably going to be the flashiest, have the most diamonds, and that's just the MO of our group.
What does it take to coach guys like that?
Sometimes it can be tough. We got a great group though, so although they're kind of flashy and they dress well and they're easy to coach. They're coachable, they're humble. They have a lot of fun with everything that they do, and so it makes my job a lot easier.
So you know these guys about as well as anybody does. Who's got the messiest locker, you think?
I'd probably say TB. Because he's been here the longest, so he probably has the most clothes, the most shoes. He actually has 2 lockers, and so he probably has the messiest.
When you're having a team meeting and you got stuff you need to go on, who's the most likely to be late?
Man, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but if I had to pick one, probably Jamar. Last year as a rookie, there were times I'd call him every morning just to make sure he was up, make sure he knew what time the meeting was. He's a lot better this year.
You mentioned flashy just kind of comes with the position. Who do you think is the best dressed?
That's another tough question. Now, I don't understand, they call it drip nowadays, so I don't understand their drip. What they wear now, you wouldn't have caught me back in the day wearing what they wear now, but I'd say a tie between the big 3, Tyler, T, and Jamar. They each have their own style. They each change it up from week to week. They'll sport the glasses one week, and I don't think I've seen them wear the same shoe since I've been here.
Hardest worker?
Oh, man. I'd probably say Trenton Irwin. He's done a great job since I've been here, early out to practice, stays after to work on his craft, works with the DBs and different things. So he's probably the top guy, but the whole group works hard.
But who's the most underrated, do you think?
He hadn't seen him yet, but Kwame Lassiter, a guy that he hadn't played yet, but he came in as an undrafted free agent, and since day one he's made plays. I believe the quarterbacks trust him, trust his route running, trust his hands, and so he's another guy when he gets an opportunity, whether it's this year, next year, he's gonna make the most of it.
Hard one, the last one. Who's your favorite?
They all are. The whole group. I'm blessed to be their coach, blessed to be able to help them, mentor them, tutor them, allow them to be successful, because they make my job easy, and I wouldn't trade that group for anybody. Not only what they do on the field, which shows, but also the type of men they are off the field and how they conduct themselves and how they treat everyone. It makes my job easier, and I've never had a bad day since I've been a Bengals coach.
Well, it's time to now send it back over to Gary, who is back with Coach Taylor, as he tells us the one thing that his team needs to do against the Ravens.
Zach, we do this every week during the regular season. What's the must to come out? But in this case, the must is to advance and play another week and reach all your goals. What do you got to do in this rematch with Baltimore?
You have to win the turnover battle, and just like we did the other day, our defense found a way to capitalize on some takeaways. Our offense finished off those drives when they got short fields. And there were still many more opportunities out there that we could take advantage of. And so when those balls come our way, we gotta make them pay.
How huge is it to score 21 points off turnovers?
It is. It's that can be the difference in these playoff games. You're always going to play against a tough team, and they're really good. usually in all three phases, but usually excellent one side of the ball. And so anytime you can capitalize on a field position, you got to be able to do it.
We'll be waiting all day for Sunday night this wild card weekend as the Bengals and Ravens meet in prime time in the jungle. NBC has the coverage with kickoff slated for 8:15.
Outside of Super Bowls, this will be the first time that the Bengals play on a Sunday night in the postseason. We'll be live for the Sports Authority after the game, full coverage and reaction from Paycor Stadium.
For Gary Miller and Chris Frankel, I'm Marissa Contapelli for our entire crew this evening. Thanks for tuning in to this Bengals Weekly Playoff Special. Hope to see you next weekend, but until then, Hooday!
Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Paycor, proud to be the official HR software provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Alta Fiber, proud to be the official internet provider of the Cincinnati Bengals.